Your database is an integral part of your business. Your past clients are the most valuable commodity in your marketing arsenal. These are the people that have used your services, they've counted on your professionalism, and regardless of what you may think, these folks are the front line to the way your potential customer is going to find you. Ask any loan officer or realtor where their business comes from, and every one of them say, "My business comes from referrals." This is why we more than encourage an accurate database. Your sphere of influence is comprised of family, friends, colleagues, and of course, past clients. It can't be stated strong enough that you have to keep your database up to date. Some people neglect this resource, and regardless of why, no stated reason or excuse can possibly justify the devaluing of such an important piece of your business. If you have Calyx Point or Top Producer or any CRM or contact management program, make sure it's a priority to understand how to maintain contact information so it's accessible for your marketing efforts. Now, so far in this series, we've covered the right marketing approach, who your audience is, and the value of personalization. And while these points are the foundation of increased referrals, they won't be very effective if you can't get them to your intended audience accurately. An inaccurate database is all it takes to destroy what would otherwise be a perfectly successful marketing effort. Consider the value of one past client who's happy with what you've done for them. To illustrate this point, I'm going to tell the story briefly of Joe Girard. It's an interesting one. But rather than focus on his accolades as a salesperson, suffice it to say that Joe Girard is in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most successful car salesman that ever lived. If you look him up on Wikipedia or you Google him, it's an inspiring story. Joe sold 13,000 cars from 1963 to 1978, and that's about 850 cars a year, give or take. How he did it was the key. Joe understood the power of relationship, but he also understood the power of an accurate and up-to-date database. So let's look at the idea of sphere of influence. It's more than a marketing buzzword. As an interesting exercise, if you grabbed a Yellow Pages to use as a reference, going through all of the industries, you'd recognize some of the industries as well as people that you know that are in some of those industries. Again, this is just a visual example. If you then took the White Pages and went through all the first names from A to Z, you'd find that a lot of them are people's names that you recognize as people that you know. I know a Bill, I know a Charles, I know a Dave, I know a Fred, going through alphabetically. Putting the two lists together, if you wrote them down, the list would come out to be about 200 to 250 different people. Again, this is just an exercise, so if you grab the Yellow Pages, go ahead and set it down, but certainly give it a shot one day. I think you'll find it's very interesting. But what tends to get lost is that each person that you know also knows 200 to 250 people. And while there's going to be some overlap between everyone's sphere of influence, good news travels quickly. Anyone who buys a house tells everyone that they know personally all about it. While they might not go nuts talking about their loan officer or the real estate agent, you can bet that any one of their friends or family in their sphere who asks for their advice, you'll be the one that gets referred if you've maintained the relationship that developed during the process. And you can bet that Joe Girard understood this very well. The value of your database is in direct relation to its accuracy. So if you haven't dedicated the time to keeping your database accurate, I strongly suggest that you start doing that immediately.